Okie dokie. Alright. Apologies for the echo. Didn't mean to do that. Alright. So, before we start, I'm going to ask. I already heard how my microphone sounds, and there is no music on here to test the music, but I'm going to assume the music's going to be okay. Okay, so I need... So, anybody remember what happened last time? Guy probably remembers most of it. Plain stuff happened. Okay, so it opened up. They ran into a huge turbulence, and it was big enough to be register in Edgeworth's mind that it was a earthquake. He passed out because Miles Edgeworth has PTSD from earthquakes. He also has a fear of elevators in the earthquake too, so that didn't help it when he found a body in the elevator and he was accused of murder. One of the stewardess, flight attendants, accused him of murder and he proved his case. So everybody else was also trying to accuse Edgeworth of murdering, and he tried to prove his case with other people, such as LeBlanc, which I ended up calling him Wario, which is the expression was, "I'm not Wario." Because he has that greed where he gets all the valued artwork and he sells it for money. Kind of sounds like Wario's background, doesn't it? Because Wario has this greed, he has collectibles. I can almost guarantee you, Wario sells valuables just so he can have money. So there's a little bit of greed between those both characters. Yeah, LeBlanc doesn't have his have a mustache, but if you put a mustache on LeBlanc, you could see the resemblance. But anyway, LeBlanc accused Edgeworth of murder. Edgeworth proved that he wasn't a murderer. Comes up and meets another stewardess, flight attendant, who's always sleeping on the job. Cammy Meal, or Cammy Mealy. So, whatever you want to call her, I've been calling her Cammy Mealy because that's how it's spelled. It is a reference to chamomile, which is a sweater. If you didn't know that. Which is like made from animal. Don't quote me on that one. But something like that. But they now are accusing the other flight attendant, Rhoda. Rhoda is now being accused of murder. Then we would land Franziska von Karma accused Miles Edgeworth of murder. He proved that he's not. So now they're accusing Rhoda 100%. So that's where we're at right now. Rhoda has to prove her case that she did not murder the Interpol agent in the elevator. If you guys didn't know, the guy that's dead in the elevator, he's an Interpol agent. So that's where we're at right now. March 12th, 2:52 p.m. Flight 1 or Flight I-390, lower deck cargo hold. Well, so this is the cargo hold, huh? It's so big! This plane is a special model. Has both the super large cargo hold and ultra luxurious first class seating. So, is this the real scene of the murder? There is certainly a high probability of that, which is why we are here, correct? Oh, let's get investigating, sir. Lower deck cargo hold. Alright, Di. Let's get investigating. Yes, sir? This cargo hold is really big. I can't believe they can fit stuff like that in here. Detective, what are you going on about? We're in the middle of an investigation. Woo! Stuff falling on me! Oh, I can't get really into my work without something like this happening first. Well, let's get this show on the road. So, which item do you want to start on? In this world, there are these who are mask assist. And then there is Dumb Shoe. I can't believe the game went there. So the flight attendant, Rhoda Tenero, she's the killer, isn't she? I don't think we can say for sure yet. But there certainly are a great number of things pointing us in that direction. You mean like, oh, she didn't tell us about her buying her own suitcase? Yes, however, in regards to the key card being stolen, I can't seem to find any evidence that she's lying about that. Okay. Holy suitcase, Mr. Edgeworth! We're in a Batman scene! It's like an all-you-can-use suitcase fair! These must be all the leftover ones they couldn't sell. The ones the company is planning to dispose of after the flight is over. This paint job is really cool, don't you think? It practically screams artistic. Oh? Why not purchase one then? I'm sure it will bring you much happiness. You think so? Then maybe I will. Let's see here. $1,200? Hey, Phoenix. Legal pass. And Miss Tenera wonders why they don't sell. You need 2 jobs just to buy one. It definitely looks like one is missing. What is the brittle substance I'm stepping on? It's a bunch of glass fragments. So, Di, can you guess what the glass fragment is? I bet you it's not that hard to figure out. You want me to tell you? It's very easy by looking at it. Actually, I'll do one better. Let's take a look at the organizer. And let's take a look at the profile. Look at this guy's profile. What is he wearing? Exactly. So that piece of glass fragment that he was stepping on may be a lens to his glasses, right? Makes sense, right? And the fact that it's here and not where the body is found tells you another thing. Okay, come on, game. Cooperate with me. Thank you. What's with the suitcase, pal? It's what the victim checked in, sir. So the suitcase belongs to Mr. Hicks. I don't think he'd mind if we take a closer look. There's nothing out of the ordinary in here, sir. Wait, a file? And there's a photo of Miss Von Comer in here, too. Looks like a file on Franziska. Why would Mr. Hicks have had a file on her? Let's see if there's anything new that popped up on here. No. So, next they want us to talk to this guy. You were right at the scene of the crime before Detective Gumshoe, correct? And you then immediately began to direct the investigation. It seems to me that you were already here at this airport for some time besides the murder. For something besides this murder. Yes, I was. I've been following a very large and involved government-level international crime, but it's much too large for one person to take on alone. So it was decided that I should form a joint investigation with Interpol. Interpol is involved. It's a top secret operation, so I really can't tell you any more than I already have. Okay, so. So now we're gonna go here. Now, with that hand I just gave you, which can we put together? Oh, we've met Franziska in the second game. But anyway, thank you for joining. Digi Vixen, I'm glad to see that you're enjoying the stream. I think we can safely conclude that these fragments are from a pair of glasses. And the victim was wearing a pair of broken glasses. Exactly what I was thinking. I'm sure that the shards would match up perfectly with the remnants of his glasses lens. Ergo, the victim was here, just as I suspected. So you're saying that the real scene of the crime was here, sir? Yes, that was last stream. Last week we ran into her. Yeah. So we're just Isn't that what I've been saying for a while now? Oh, it is? I didn't know that. Those sudden brain cells have kind of diminished. They've turned to dust. Perhaps it's a bit too early to draw this conclusion. However, I believe that the probability has just skyrocketed considerably. All that's left is to find the murder weapon. And of course, since these are the last ones here, we might as well connect these two as well. Now, why would Mr. Hicks have document profiling Franziska? Oh, I know. I bet he's a big fan of Ms. Von Karma, sir. No, not correct. Franziska said that she had come to this airport as part of an Interpol investigation. Oh, maybe Mr. Hicks had heard she was coming here and he followed her? Detective, I think it's more likely that Mr. Hicks was, in actuality, Interpol agent Hicks. And I spoiled that before the stream came on. I think Franziska has some explaining to do. Freddy, you got some explaining to do! Alright. You came to this airport to rendezvous with the victim, didn't you? Die? You watched I Love Lucy? I know you know the phrase or the line. Nonsense. What are you talking about? We found a profile detailing information about you in the victim's luggage. I suppose it was prepared for him so that he could recognize you when he landed, which makes him not Mr. Hicks, but rather Interpol Agent Hicks. Isn't that correct? I should have known you'd figure it out, Miles. But it looks like they got to him first. So you really did come here to receive an Interpol agent then? Yes. Agent Hicks was on the trail of a very large international smuggling ring. I have actually already played Investigation. Matter of fact, I can show you. Right there it is. The light's in the way. Di's already seen me show this, but yeah, I have the game. This happens to be a mod. Okay? I've explained what packs, mods are before in one of the other streams, but this is a mod. This is a fan translation. You can also play it on emulators. I happen to have a physical cartridge that you can get from AliExpress. Yeah, so the official one is going to be different, but I won't be able to play that until September, which will be right around the time I finish this game. Should be right around the time I finish this game because episode 5 is going to be my longest. That's going to be like, what, 3 weeks? 3 weeks longer. I would like to play the original, though I'm kind of not a big fan of the title, Prosecutor's Gambit, because he's technically not gambling his career in the game. It's literally what that title says, Prosecutor's Path. He lost his badge in the game, and he's working his way up to go get the badge. Sorry, Di, for spoiling that for you, but you'll find that out when you see it. But yeah, I don't feel like he was gambling his career in the game at all because he had already lost his prosecutor badge by the time the game officially starts. He went undercover to investigate the crime. Yeah, but the way the title is written, it makes it sound like Miles Edgeworth is gambling his career. So it doesn't really reflect the story much at all, which is why Prosecutor's Task is the correct title, which the Japanese title technically does say Prosecutor's Task if you translate it, because that's where the translation came from. But they changed it to Prosecutor's Gambit, so they didn't have to go through a legal issue with the fan translation, because they know a fan translation exists. And it was I who put him on this case. I was supposed to receive a call from him on his cell phone once he had landed. I never expected to receive a call about his murder intent. I don't mind a lot of the character name changes. It's fine. I mean, that wasn't the big deal. I knew the character names were going to be changed anyways. But my biggest beef was the title, because the title reflects the story of the game. He wasn't gambling his career, so that I understood from playing this game. And I'm sure when everybody else sees the game in its full, they'll question why it's called Prosecutor's Gambit. I think we now have pretty definitive evidence that Agent Hicks came down here to the cargo hold. But what was he doing down here, sir? There's nothing but luggage. Oh, I get it. Maybe he forgot something in his suitcase and came down to get it. Ow! Agent Hicks came here for a work-related reason. Of that I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure he was here to investigate the smuggling operation he was observing. Francisco, do you know exactly how he intended to pursue his investigation? No. Unfortunately, I was going to find out from him after he landed. I see. But this raises another question. A normal passenger can't access the cargo hold on their own. Agent Hicks must have identified himself to a member of the crew and enter the cargo hold with that person who let him in. Yes, and then he was murdered here. These glass fragments and his broken glasses are a testament to that. And then the killer put Agent Hicks into one of the spare suitcases. They entered the elevator, but while they were riding it up, the plane hit the patch of turbulence. Because of the instant shaking, the suitcase popped open and Agent Hicks's body flew out. At the same time, his wallet fell out of his pocket, spilling its content everywhere. Which explains why there was a money scatter all over the elevator floor. Okay. This case is going to get a little dark here very soon. Or be forewarned. I think it's pretty easy to say who the culprit is at this stage. What? Really, sir? I know what you're thinking, Miles Edgeworth. But the killer can be none other than Ms. Rhoda Tenero. Are you sure about that? There's 2 flight attendants. definitive evidence. If it was a crew member, any of them could have shown Agent Hicks to the cargo hold. But the point to keep in mind in the cargo is the key card that allows the elevator to come down here. The only person with such high-level access is Ms. Rhoda Tenero. I'd say that's a pretty decisive piece of information, wouldn't you? I know what she's trying to say, but I'm not certain it's as simple as that. Okay. Since you're new here, DigiVixen, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. If you want to help, you can help. But I do avoid that if you know the answer, to not answer, because Di is doing most of this on her own. Okay? If you're still in here. That may be true, but then it could be anyone, including Miss Mealy or even the captain. Don't be a fool. A plane without a pilot is in the cockpit is like a horse without a rider crop in hand. Much like Scruffy over there. I can't disagree with her on that. Detective Gumshoe does always need a guiding hand. Very well then. What about the other flight attendant, Miss Millie? Ah, I thought you might ask about her. But it's highly likely that the key card was stolen from Miss Tenero.
Objection!
It's highly likely? Is that possibility the best you can come up with? And you call yourself a disciple of my father? Yes, well, I don't have any evidence. Be quiet, you're a disgrace. There's more evidence pointing to Miss Rhoda Tenero, you know. It's not just the key card that gives her away. Are you talking about the murder weapon, the Mr. Fly Piggy Blank? Yes. She is also the only person with a key to open the display case. Actually, the display case is still locked. We discovered that, didn't we? Further, there is the matter of the key to the display case that held the murderous bank.
Hold it! Objection!
Stop right there, Miles Edgeworth. You don't have any proof that this is just a red herring. If you must keep on insisting that it's a fake, then what is the real murder weapon and where did it go? Speechless, I see. That's not a surprise. After all, you know that we've searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed. There must be a way. There must be something that can help me rule out the piggy bank as the murder weapon. Like I said, it's going to get dark here pretty soon. What should be examined further to help us ascertain the authenticity of the weapon? There's only one answer for this one. No, we can't do any more to investigate the bank. We've done everything we could to investigate the bank. We know it was in a display case. The turbulence pushed it out of the display case and it fell to the floor. And they put it, and it was found in the briefcase, and the blood is from... That works. We'll try that. Francisco, I think you were too quick to jump to your conclusion. Oh, was I? Yes. We don't even have the autopsy reports results yet. How can I not say that you made a snap judgment when you have yet to even see? If the wound on Mr. Hicks' head is consistent with a murder weapon? Scruffy! Yes, sir. Contact the medical examiner's office at once. I wish to hear the results of Agent Hicks' autopsy. Yes, sir! We've got a big problem, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. What is it, detective? They're still doing the autopsy, but they said that they already know this one thing for sure. Report now. The doc said that it's one giant bruise from a beating from the shoulder down to the back, his mid-back. So, the bank is not the murder weapon. So, if he's got a it's from the back of his head to his shoulder, all the way down the middle of his back, the bank cannot be the murder weapon. From the victim's shoulder to his mid-back, he was beaten over such a wide area. Well, I'd say maybe it's a sign the killer had a grudge against Agent Hicks. It wasn't just his head. The killer went all out and hit him multiple times, sir. Autopsy data jotted down in my organizer. Scruffy, what is had a grudge against Agent Hicks supposed to mean? Well, that's, was the wound on the victim's head consistent with the murder weapon, detective? Oh, well, they said that they were still looking into this, sir. You're completely useless. Yow! Well, that's all he could do. There's nothing more that he can do. Sir, I told you already. You can't go down there. And here is where it gets dark. No! You remove yourself from my way. What is all that racket? My luggage, my cargo. They're mine, and I demand you return them to me. We're still investigating the cargo hold. Please understand and have a little patience. I suppose there is no choice. Finally, I think he did. Hey, what are you doing? You have left me no choice but to use strong force. You won't get past me. Wait, that's it! So that's what this whole thing has been about. See how dark it's getting? Further, there is the matter of the key to the display case that held the murderous bank. After all, you know that we've searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed. The dog said that it's one giant bruise from a beating from his shoulder down to his mid-back. Okay. So that got dark very quick. So see what to put together? Also, it kind of helps when you read here. It says, is there... Okay, you're going to go with that first. That doesn't work. Not exactly a shining example of the perfect line of logic. Okay, so those can't be put together. So how about we try this? Allegedly, the killer struck the victim many times over, which is why there is extensive bruises over such a wide area. But is that really the correct conclusion to draw from the evidence? The bruise from his shoulder to the middle of his back is one continuous mark, which is more suggestive of a single blow to the back. If that's the cause, then the piggy bank is much too small to have caused that. Therefore, the murder weapon must be something far bigger. Okay, so now we can do this and this, because that's what we need. If we're looking for a rather large weapon, you think it would stick out. But so far, we haven't found anything that resembles a weapon of any sort. Perhaps, just perhaps, it's something we've all overlooked from the very beginning, because normally it's too impossibly big to be taken into consideration. What was that about? Was he trying to jump his way down here? No. Francisco? What? What do you want? I found it, Francisco. I found the real murder weapon. You did? He really jumped. We didn't realize it until now, but the answer has been right in front of us this entire time. He might be hurt. We should go check up on him, sirs. There's that pompous attitude of yours again. You should learn to drop that habit. This is coming from a prosecutor with a habit of whipping everyone she comes across. Anyways, if you really are a prosecutor, then you'll back yourself up with evidence. You two aren't listening at all, are you? Come on then, show me the real murder weapon you speak of. Unfortunately, what would be the evidence? I don't have anything to show. I don't have any evidence to show. I don't have any evidence to show you. Foolish reasoning for a foolish fool from a foolishly foolish fool meant to fool me. What do you mean by I don't have any evidence to show? Perhaps I should have phrased it as that which caused Agent Hicks' death is incorporeal. Forgive me, but I do believe I have figured out what was the real cause of death. Once you see the answer, Di, you'll figure it out. Why we don't have a murder weapon. The victim fell from a great height and subsequently died as a result. In other words, the real cause of death is free falling to the ground. He fell to his death? Yes, this is the only plausible possibility. The victim has extensive bruising on the back of his head and his back. And the only rational explanation for these injuries is that he fell to his death. But the murder weapon inside this plane. I know. The murder happened inside this plane. Are you claiming that there is some place in this plane from which he could have fallen from? As I said earlier, the answer has been right in front of us the entire time. You can't mean... Yes, I do. The victim fell from the top of the stairs of this very cargo hold. What? Then we're in trouble. We could have a second death on our hands, sir. But he didn't fall that far. Hey, you, tell me you aren't dead, pal. Quiet. Why are you screaming? He's alive. And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. It's not possible that Agent Hicks fell over the railing to his death. She doesn't get the picture. That man is living proof of that. I suppose it's true that it's not possible given the current circumstances. The current circumstances? What is that supposed to mean? Suppose that large piece of cargo wasn't there at the time. What would have happened then? He would have been a Bourguignon pancake for sure, sir. I suppose that man over there wouldn't still be breathing. But the reality is that the cargo box is there. So there is no point in entertaining your wild hypothetical scenario. She's got to understand one thing. When was that cargo put on the plane? That is where she's not understanding this. It may be there now, but there is no proof that it was always there. Ha! As if there couldn't have been a window of time when that giant box was not there. Actually, there was. Ah, but there was. What? What can I use to show her that it's possible the box was not always where it is now? Well, there's one piece of evidence. Alright, we're gonna go through that for you. Okay. What photo? This one? No, this doesn't help us at all. See, read what that question says. What can I use to show her that it's possible the box was not always where it is now? So that can't help us because this doesn't have anything to do with the plane. How far back? You want me to keep going back? One more? Okay.
Take that!
You were field in the Republic of Zhengfa? Yes, this flight had a short layover in Zhengfa in order to refill. But that wasn't the only reason for the layover. We also transferred some cargo. What if the box in question was only transferred onto the plane at that time? To further prove my point, let's take a look at what's next to the box in question. Ah, it's labeled Zhengfa Express. Correct, meaning it was loaded onto the plane in Zhengfa. Cargo from Zhengfa data. Jotted down in my organizer. Now, what if the box in question was also loaded at the same time? It would mean that the box was not here in the cargo hold during the Europe-Zhengfa leg of the flight, meaning a clear drop from which ancient Hicks could have fallen to his death entirely possible. Ah, but your theory is still very far-fetched. How is it far-fetched? He just proved it. And allow me a chance to prove how very likely my scenario is. My first order of business will be to examine the piece of cargo in more detail. Lower deck cargo hold. Okay. Man, I can't believe Mr. Hicks fell to his death. I never would have guessed in a million years. Alright. Okay. That is still only a hypothesis, however the investigation should prove it to be true. Speaking of falling, I'm glad that our guy is okay. He took quite the spill. Yes, he was lucky to have landed on top of the piece of cargo. Yeah, I can just see it now. Passenger pays price for police follow-up. Did prosecute Edgeworth add fuel to the fire of the first murder with the second death? Yep, I'm willing to bet that it makes the front page. That's not funny, detective! Alright. We're going to wait for Dai for a second. Real mat and guard, huh? Real mat and guard, huh? How real is he? Not real enough. Alright. Well, it's not like it's going to be any different over here. We had a few thunderstorms earlier today, so alright. So next thing we are going to be doing, they want me to examine the large cargo hold. This is what they want me to examine. This is a rather large piece of cargo. There's a tag on it. There's a tag on it, sir. Let's see. Elfie Red statue. Never heard of it. Yeah, I'm aware. That's why I was prepared with barrel. Because it was coming up from Texas and was making a big U-turn to the right. You said you didn't get that much from barrel, but he apparently got a little bit, but it wasn't as devastating as this last storm. But anyways, we know what the Alfie Red statue is. Or the Alif Red. Nor I, but all I care about is if we can prove it wasn't here at the time of the crime. Then let's get investigating, sir. Look here. Do not go about touching my possessions without my permission. Heck! Don't run up on me like that, pal. Sir, so this belongs to Mr. LeBlanc, does it? I should see what else I can find out from him. Look here, I'm not Wario. Do not go about touching my possessions without my permission. Did I say I'm not Wario? I suppose I have to appease Mr. LeBlanc if I want to examine this in more detail. And yes, you did say you're not Wario. I take it that this large piece of cargo belongs to you, Mr. LeBlanc. Of course it is mine. I shipped this fine piece of art from Europe. This Elif Red statue is worth 10 million cents. Not much more. Not much more. 10 million cents? Let's do our math on this. 10 million cents. 100 cents is $1. How much is this Elif Red statue worth? All I can think of is probably worth 10 grand because he says it's 10 million cents. Mr. LeBlanc's reason for choosing this plane must have been the large cargo hold. 10 million cents? I suggest you stop trying to calculate how many packs of noodles that'll make, Detective. Especially when one pack is not even worth $1 in today's time. It's like $3. So wait until you see the prices in this game. You're gonna think to yourself that is starting to make a lot of sense now. Because when I first played this back in 2009, it's just, these prices don't make sense. And I'm thinking back to this time because we're ahead of this game. So the prices for this time and in game is going to make sense to you now. Darn. How did you do that? I feel like you keep getting better and better at seeing right through me every year. Though I grow with every revolution of this planet around the sun, I have the distinct impression he continues to madly spin in play. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, so that 10 million cents, is that in euros or in dollars? What difference does it make? The values are identical. Euros and USD's values are basically the same. Does it really matter? Does it really make a difference to our case? Mr. LeBlanc, this is a chance your cargo is related to our murder case. I was wondering if you would allow us to examine it a bit closer. It is a very large value piece of art, so no, there will be no touching. So, Di, this may be a stupid question, but which one of these will go together? Yeah, this is a stupid question. If Mr. Blanc has something to do with the smuggling ring, then it's possible that this fake statue was brought on board in Zhengfa. I think I need to question him a bit further. About your statue, Mr. LeBlanc, I wonder if it might be a fake. What? How dare you say my art is a fake? I suppose that your statue might be the target of an international smuggling ring. Don't say such fantastical things. Those thieves would not dare. I have the certification of my cargo right here. Do you mean the cargo certification document? Mr. Zinc LeBlanc, why didn't you say so earlier? Please show it to us at once. I can't read this. What does it say? It says as plain as day, the cargo was put into the plane in Europe. And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. Too bad for you. The statue was brought on board in Europe, just as it states in the certificate. No, which means that there never was a window of time in which the statue wasn't sitting there. The leaf read certificate data jotted down in my organizer. I respectfully disagree. We can't. Then you can have your wish. Look at it yourself and see I am right. this? I wonder if I've seen this someplace before. This is the elf red. It gives off such a feeling of art. I can practically smell it. The statue has a high amount of historic value. After it was unveiled at a museum in Europe, I brought it to this country to exhibit it. A red statue data jotted in my organizer. I believe a closer look is warrant here. So this is the infamous Elif red statue. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Did you find something? There's something wrong with this picture, which we should examine it in more detail. Okay. We are going to examine this little spot right here. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Alright, so now that I'm deduced, I'm going to let you figure this out. These ours are awfully orange, don't you think? Yeah, I'm pretty. They remind me of sunsets when I was in grade school, sir. I don't think you see what I'm talking about. No, I do, but it's really like the color of the sun when it's setting, sir. Oh, the memories. I remember standing out in the field spinning with my arms out until I felt ill. I don't care about sunsets. Focus, detective. What color are the eyes in this photo? Huh? Ah, sir, they're red! And there's also one other problem. That statue's bigger. As I thought, this statue is a fake. Mr. LeBlanc, what do you want? Do you not know I am a busy man? I allow you 2 seconds for your answer. The Elif Red. I suppose this is your pride and joy, is it not? It is the biggest trophy on this European trek. Do you know why I want to possess this statue? The trigger started 17 years ago. Better grab a chair, sir. It sounds like this is going to be a long story. Mr. LeBlanc, I regret to inform you, and you have my heartfelt sympathy, but what is it, sympathy? For what? You'll see. I'd like you to compare the eyes. That large fellow there has very bright and pretty eyes compared to you. What? What? I wasn't talking about the two of us. I meant the eyes of the statue in front of us and the one in this photo. Why is it said in yelling? Now that, oh. It is a photo of the large. It is a photo of the statue on display at the museum in Europe. Yeah, right. If that didn't sound like why, I don't know what sounded like Fario. Oh, do you see, Mr. LeBlanc? The statue before us is a fake. Fake? I believe that even further examination will be required. Now that we have confirmed that this is indeed a fake, there must be some sort of proof that this was brought on board in Zhangfa, and I will present to you the evidence that will resolve the remaining contradictions. Okay. All right. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Alright, we are going to go to this page. Which one do you think it is, Di? There is clearly a contradiction here. What are you going on about? Just a simple case of cargo cover getting stuck under a piece of cargo. Ah, that's not possible. But it is. It isn't. It shouldn't be this way. But the statue is on top of the cloth. Supposing that the neighboring piece of cargo was brought on board in Zhangfa, there is no way that any part of it should wind up underneath from Europe. Which means that this fake statue was smuggled on board in Zhangfa. But then, what about the cargo certificate? Let me ask in return, what about Agent Hicks? Why did he come down here in the middle of the flight? There is only one reason why: to secure proof of the smuggling activities aboard this flight. So you say, but I don't believe he had to do that mid-flight. We could have just as easily inspected all the cargo after the plane landed. That may be true, however, you have it backwards, Francisca. Sure, Agent Hicks could have waited until after the plane had landed, but he had a reason for coming onto the cargo hold. Suppose he had found the fake at the airport. It would have been after the swap had occurred. At the time, the suspicion would naturally fall onto the statue owner, who would have no way to prove that the statue was switched without his knowledge, which means there is someone involved who is forging or modifying cargo certificate. I left read certificate data updated in my organizer. I guess the victim knew that the real reason for this was going to get nabbed, huh? Yes, while this photo could be seen as nothing more than a simple souvenir, it was in fact taken to be used as a reference document later on. Next, Agent Hicks had to secure proof that the smuggling had taken place. He came down here to take a picture of the cargo hold. A rather empty one at that, right before the fake statue could be loaded on board. A photo of the hold missing a valuable piece of cargo would have been proof enough. After that, all he had to do was hold the Zhengfa cargo to arrest the smuggler. Exactly. This only goes to prove my theory. If the statue was not in the cargo hold during the Europe Zhengfa leg of the trip, there would have been enough height for which Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death. Officer! Move this statue immediately. I want a thorough examination of the floor underneath now. Ms. Von Kommer, I'm ready to report my findings. Go on. After moving the L-lift red statue out of the way, we tested the area under it with luminol, and there was a reaction. I see. There was a reaction to luminol, an indication that there was blood in that spot. Stop looking at it now, sirs. A police officer that doesn't like blood. Not a very good trait. It would seem that my deductions were correct after all. I suppose it would appear that way. The culprit cleaned the blood up well. And how do you think the killer did that? How did the killer clean up all that blood? That one should be easy, guy. That should be very easy. You know the answer. How did the killer clean up the blood? We have one piece of evidence that suggests that. Do you see it? Okay. You should be able to read the screen now. And then you compare the two together. Well, that's not a scarf, that's actually a pair of Bulgarian underwear.
Take that!
The killer used this bloody cloth I found inside the suitcase to clean up the mess. I see. They had a need to clean up all that blood before the plane landed in Zhengfa? Yes, because otherwise the cargo crew would have discovered it during the layover. So you guys are saying that the murder happened before the plane landed in Zhengfa? There is no other conclusive timeline for the events of the murder. But if this is true, then that throws a certain person's testimony into doubt. If the murder occurred before we landed in Zhengfa, then this becomes highly suspect. Whose testimony? No, he's actually in the cargo hold. LeBlanc is literally a passenger on the plane. So it leaves out with two of the other ones. Melee? You mean Melee's? Recall Miss Mealy's testimony about Agent Hicks in regard to when we departed Zhengfa. I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know. She claims Agent Hicks was alive at the time of the service call, but that totally contradicts the facts, sir. But why would she lie about something like that? I think the other person who can answer that is Miss Mealy herself. Okay. So we have a new suspect, Cammy Mealy. And there is no more investigation throughout the rest of this. We have, let's see. Interesting that we only have 2 testimonies in this. Yep. Next one's going to be very short. Questions, concerns, criticisms. Why we have a black screen? I know why we have a black screen. That's just the way the emulator is. That's the way the game is. No questions, no concerns, no criticisms. Di's internet probably went out. I'll wait until she gets back. Yeah, I figured. questions, concerns, criticisms. You got a chance to see who they suspected, right? All right, we're going to continue. We got 2 more testimonies, and that's going to be completely it. That's going to be it for this chapter, this entire episode. You ready? Happened again. You ready for this one? We got 2 more testimonies. If your internet lives at least. March 12th, 3:35 p.m. Flight I-39. I-390, lower deck cargo hold. Miss Mealy. Miss Mealy. Do you recall what you said earlier about when you answered some service calls as we were departing from Zhengfa? You said that Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at the time. However, that is completely not possible, because Mr. Hicks was dead long before we even touched down in Zhengfa. Oh? Miss Cammy Mealy. Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did. No one could make a mistake so large, Miss Mealy. But I make that kind of boo-boo all the time. This is going nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction. Very well, Miss Mealy, if you please. Tell me about your alibi during this time span. From just before we were to land at 3 a.m. to 6 p.m. when the body was found. Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Mealy's alibi. Yeah. From 3 to 4, I was, in the flight attendant's room, all by my lonesome self. Yeah. And from 5 to 6, I was, in the flight attendant's room, all by my lonesome self. How is a man supposed to react to a testimony like that? Miss Mealy, wake up! She fell asleep again. Looks like the only way I'm going to be able to wake her up is by pressing her. Nice opening, don't you think, Di? Nice testimony. I bet you're thinking to yourself, what do I even press? There's nothing in there.
Hold it!
Miss Millie, wake up! I'm awake, I'm awake! Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you do something about this flight attendant this instant. Why ask me to wake her when you can finally put that whip to an appropriate use? If I remember correctly, food was being served in first class and alone between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m. Yeah, but that kind of stuff's run by Miss Rhoda. Then what were you doing in the flight in the attendance room at that time? Eating and then having a most delicious dream. You mean you were neglecting your duties? No way, sleeping's part of her job too, you know. Miss Mealy, how many times do I have to repeat myself? Wake up. I'm awake, I'm awake. Yow! What'd you whip me for, sir? Oh, what'd I miss? A poor detective being on the receiving end of a lash in your steed. Really? Sorry about that. You can make amends for that by continuing with your testimony. So, you were alone the entire time, were you? Yeah, no one else even popped their head in to say hi. Oh? Well, I think a little contradiction just popped in to say hi. What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Miss Mealy, there is a clear contradiction embedded in your testimony. What are you talking about? It's not possible that you were alone in the attendance room the whole time from 5 to 6 p.m. This one's going to be a little tough. That's not going to help us. That's not going to help us. That's not going to help us. That's clearly not going to help us. Yeah, that. Gameplay boy, welcome. So you can already see that, right, Di? The receipt probably, seeing the receipt itself could probably help you out too.
Take that!
I wonder if you would be so kind as to take a look at this receipt, Miss Mealy. A receipt for what? It's for the suitcase Miss Tenero bought. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp. Ooh, 100 messages today. I only had one stream today. That's good. As you can see, it clearly says 5:40 a.m., Miss Tenero. Yes. Why is the killer here? I thought you'd have her locked up by now. I request that she be present as a witness so that we may straighten out your complex lie. Now then, Miss Pinero, between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., you took a trip from first class down to the first floor in-flight shop, correct? Yes, I went to the shop to buy a suitcase, after which I went straight to the attendant's room to drop it off. And did you see Miss Mealy there at the time? No. So Miss Mealy, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? Miss Cammy Mealy. The bathroom? I'll be the one to ask the question here. Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know. Do you take me for a fool? That's a little convenient to be true. But it's the truth. Trust my heart. I don't have enough conclusive proof to counter-argue her at this point. You don't believe me, do you? But please, won't you give me a chance to hear me out? Reason for suspicion. Look, I know you're suspecting me, because I'm one of the crew. But you think that maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda too? She's the one in charge of the elevator key and the shop, you know. You asked me, that makes her super suspicious. Please leave Miss Tenera out of the conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now. I don't get it. Why are you covering for Miss Rhoda all of a sudden? Oh, now I get it. Maybe you got your eye on Miss Rhoda. Of course I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I? Never mind. But you want to know something? Miss Rhoda actually kind of... I have absolutely no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design. Now is not the time for this sort of talk. No, it's not the only reason I have for suspecting you. Your statement regarding Mr. Hicks also turns out to be a bunch of lies. But say I wasn't an intendant. You wouldn't suspect me then, would you? Yes, I suppose that's true enough. How's your internet holding up, Di? That's good to hear.
Hold it!
She is already being detained for further questioning, or have you already forgotten? Oh, yeah, guess I just forgot. Cammy, don't tell me you suspect me too. Sorry, can't help it. I mean, other than you, there's no one else who could have done it. I can't believe you would think that. I mean, me? A killer? Miss Millie? What did you mean just now by no one else who could have done it? And what are you in charge of, Miss Mealy? I take care of the attendance room. That doesn't count. Oh, but I spent so much time in there. It might as well be my responsibility. Mr. Edgeworth, Cammy is very talented in languages. She also assists passengers who may not speak English, especially those who speak Borginian. She is the only one on this flight who is fluent. Oh, you mean that kind of... What am I in charge of? Why didn't you say so in the first place? What else could I have meant? Yeah, so I'm really good at Borginian. She's fluent in Borginian. Then I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Borginian? Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Borginian. Very interesting. You ask me, makes her super suspicious. Actually, your on-the-job behavior makes you super suspicious in my eyes. But why? While Miss De Niro is busy with the passengers and all of her other duties, you have a lot of free time on your hands, thus providing you with ample time to commit the crime.
Objection!
Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you cease and desist in this line of conjectural question. I won't allow you to bluff your way through this like a certain defense lawyer. It is so ironic that they mention Phoenix Wright, but they don't mention him by name. But I do not honestly believe Miss Muley does any actual work aboard this flight. Oh, that's not true, Mr. Edgeworth. Although, well, all I'm in charge of are the attendance room and some Borginian stuff. Well, we already know this statement.
Hold it!
So what exactly do you do as the one in charge of some Borginian stuff? I do stuff like translate things from and into Borginian. Acme is the only member of the crew who understands Borginian, Mr. Edgeworth. Miss Mealy, I take it then that it is your job to process all the Borginian paperwork? Yeah, see? I totally pull my weight around here. So it would appear. Perhaps I should ask her for a few more details about her work. And Miss Mealy, it's very unladylike to put suspicion onto someone else. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just saying that Miss Rhoda is very sus. This is 2009. This is about what? When did Among Us come out? 2011? 2015? Something like that? 2014? Somewhere around that line? And then it becomes super hugely popular during the pandemic. (2018). So, almost, we'll say about 9 years later, that term sus becomes very popular in Among Us. And this is before Among Us was even thought of. There you go again, pushing everything onto her again. I don't get what you're saying. It must be a really abstract concept, huh? The only thing abstract here is the landscape inside your head. Well, we pretty know what statement, right, Di? And I'm pretty sure you already know which piece of evidence to present this on. That's the last thing that's on this page.
Objection!
So, you are the only one in this flight crew that speaks Burgundian. Is that correct? Yeah, I guess so. I studied abroad in Bulgaria for a while. If that is the case, then the signature on this document belongs to you, doesn't it? This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose: to lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. LeBlanc's statue was loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Bulgaria is you, Miss Mealy. Without your participation, the smuggling of the Elif Red could not have occurred. Don't sleep while I'm pointing my finger at you. Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth. It is exactly as you say. Are you confessing to having participated in the smuggling? No, far from it. It's true that I was the one who signed off on the document, but you can't use that fact alone to make your allegations of smuggling stick. There is no direct correlation after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper. Really? All you did was sign it? I neglected to check it. Check if the cargo had been loaded onto the plane properly. So, sorry about that. It seems that she's finally woken up. This is going to be one tough flight. Suppose, and this is just a supposition, even if I was involved in the smuggling, you can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that.
Objection!
If you were involved in the smuggling, you would have a strong motive to kill. Agent Hicks was in the middle of an investigation regarding a smuggling ring, and just when he was about to close in, he's killed by a member of the ring. Well, did you ever stop to think that maybe Rhoda is a smuggling ring member? After all, unlike me, Rhoda has access to many things on this plane for work purposes. So perhaps there is some element of a setup at play in this case? What are you talking about? Don't worry, I was talking about you. I meant the killer. First it was myself, and now it was Miss Pinero, who was under the microscope. Seems to be that our killer is going to great lengths to pin this crime on anyone they can. You have no proof that Rhoda is being set up, or that she isn't. Actually, I believe she was indeed the intended target from the very beginning. I believe that the plan was to push all the blame for the crime onto her, and this evidence will prove my suspicions. The proof that the killer was out to frame Miss Pinero from the very beginning. That is a really good guess, Di. That is a very good guess.
Take that!
The killer would have hidden the body anywhere, and yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps it was to move the body up from the lower deck to the first floor. However, why go through the trouble to do so? The only way all of these actions make sense is if the killer had wanted to frame Miss Pinero for the murder. Miss De Niro buys a suitcase on every flight she works without fail. But should her suitcase be switched with the one containing the victim's body, that would put her in a very tight spot. Unfortunately for the killer, the turbulence put an end to that plan. There wasn't enough time to put the body back into the suitcase. Ergo, they made do with whoever was at hand, adapt their plan, and try to frame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop and brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A lot of work for a fruitless endeavor. Wouldn't you agree? Sounds like the killer had a tough time too, huh? I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway? That is because of the special circumstances surrounding the particular case. What special circumstances that dictated the need for the killer to frame someone? I love how they put this in order. No. Because we already know who the murder victim is. It's text. They weren't really hiding the fact on who it was. The special circumstance is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, customs is quite strict in these day and age. So no matter what you do, the chances that the body will be found is very high. Therefore, there was no choice but to frame either Miss De Niro or myself. In other words, the only one who fits within the boundaries of this criminal's movement is not Miss De Niro or myself, but you, Miss Timmy Mealy. Only you and you alone could be the killer. And are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyways, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me other than a whole lot of circumstantial evidence. I can see the outline of how the murder occurred, but I have no definitive evidence. And isn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? Something that I still can't quite fit into the big picture? Why is this picture not the right color? We'll find out. It's going to be on this page anyways. Just to let you know. Because there's one piece of evidence that we don't have any answers for. It's going to be on this page, so I don't have any actual evidence. I thought not. But that's because it went missing and still is. Missing? What do you mean by that? In the complex puzzle that is this case, there was one piece I keep getting stuck on, and that is the victim's cell phone. Francisca, you were waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hicks' cell phone. Or at least, that's what you told me. That's right. But Agent Hicks' cell phone could not be found at the crime scene. You mean the killer took the phone with them? Precisely. I suspected that if we were to find the phone, it would lead us to the killer. Ha ha ha! Come on, get serious. If the victim fell to his death from that height, wouldn't his phone break as well? We wouldn't know that until we try a little experiment, will we? Francisca, I'd like to ask for your assistance. You know the victim's phone number, don't you? Of course I do. Agent Hicks' phone! It's ringing from somewhere, sir! I hear it, Detective. Now, where is it coming from? Take a guess where the phone is, Di. It's actually very obvious. Well, it's going to tell me something here. So, here we go. March 12th, 4:12 p.m. Flight I-390, first floor attendance room. The ring is coming from somewhere in here, sir. Leave no stone unturned, Detective Gumshoe. We must find it. The ring is coming from in here, sir. What? No, it can't be. This has got to be the victim's cell phone. Just whose luck is this, sir? It's Miss Tenero's. What? Another piece of evidence to frame her on. March 12th, 4:28 p.m. Flight I-390, lower deck cargo hold. So, Miss Edgeworth, how did it go? Where did you find the phone? I found it in the flight attendant's room, Miss Tenero's locker. What? But Rhoda Tenero. I don't know anything about the phone. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It's not karma, is it? I suggest you arrest Miss Rhoda Tenero right away. Objection! Wait. I have a theory. This is related to the incident with the key card. When the killer went to steal the key card, they conveniently stashed the cell phone in Miss Tenero's locker at the same time.
Objection!
This is related to the key card, all right. In the same way that we have zero proof that the killer did just that. The only voice that sings the truth is evidence. That is the one bird we cannot ignore. What should I do? Francisca's right. I can't offer baseless conjectures at this point. Alright then, why did the culprit take the cell phone from Agent Hicks? It must have something very incriminating on or in it.
Hold it!
What now, Miles Edgeworth? It's not over yet. We have yet to figure out why the killer took the phone. What? Inside this phone lies the final piece of incriminating evidence that will point us to our killer. We need to examine this phone in more detail. This must be the switch that opens the phone. When did they start putting keyboards in these into the cell phones? Hey, this is one of those computer cell phones that they started selling recently. Computer cell phones? Yeah, it's got a computer in it, and it's a cell phone. Neat, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? All you need is a phone, in a phone is the phone part, nothing more. I'm guessing yours can't even send out emails. Talk about inconvenient. Do you have a problem with what I do and do not care for, detective? No, sir. As they say, simple is best. The LCD is broken. Without a screen, you can't even place a call with us. Ah, it's a camera lens. Come to think of it, I wonder, how exactly was Agent Hicks planning to preserve the crime scene of a smuggling? Francisco, I need you to confirm something. This cell phone, can it take pictures? Mr. Edgeworth, I can't believe you don't know know about this kind of basic stuff, sir. This looks like a very similar model to my own, and mine can take photos just fine. Do you think Agent Hicks could have taken some pictures with this? In particular, pictures as evidence for his smuggling case? If so, I'd say there may be some very inconvenient photos in here for our killer smuggler. But the phone's all busted up, sir. Even a super prosecutor can't repair a broken phone. I'll find a way, don't you worry about that. Maybe I'd go back to sleep now.
Objection!
The LCD screen on the inside and outside are broken, that's for sure. That's also reason enough to believe that the killer wasn't able to erase the data. What? What do you mean by that, Francisco? It looks like our killer isn't very familiar with electronics. His phone still rang when I called it, meaning that only the LCD screen was broken. It's possible that the photos are still there inside waiting to be accessed. All we need to do is transfer the data to my phone. Francisco, your phone, if you please. Very well. It's transferring. Alright, displaying it now. This is... Agent Hicks was most certainly trying to obtain some evidence from his smuggling case. Hey, the alley red's nowhere in this picture. But this has no meaning as piece of evidence in this murder case, right? Oh, she's right. There's not much we can find out from this about Agent Hicks' killer, sir. Is this it? Is this the end? Is there really nothing in this photo that we can use? Okay. So we're going to examine this. And I kind of was wrong about that piece of cloth. I said it was underwear. It's not. Boxes of bed sheets. They're still in the cargo hold. There's nothing unusual about them in particular, but I can't shake the feeling. if you're just playing around, mind if I go home? Yes, I mind. I need to focus on what's different now from back then. Watch the bed sheet. What's all this? Oh, there, cargo shipped from Virginia to Zingfa. So the reason they aren't here now is that they were dropped off in Zingfa. Mr. LeBlanc, can you tell me the contents of the boxes? Unfortunately, there is no English written on them anyway. One cluster box is written in Virginia. It says blah 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 blah. It is cloth in English. Cloth? Could it be? Is this where the killer? What for is that scary face? Miss Millie? Yes? It appears that the agent Hicks was no ordinary investigator. He left us with a piece of evidence after all. A striking piece that will point out who his killer is. Huh? Maybe you shouldn't force your mistaken reading of a simple picture, Mr. Edgeworth. The Virginian cargo and this piece of evidence will point us straight to the killer. Which is what piece of evidence, Di? It's just cloth, not a scarf. And what is this supposed to prove? The killer used this piece of cloth to wipe up the blood they had spilled. But there was one thing that bothered me the whole time. Where did it come from? And now I have finally found my answer in this very photo. The cargo that was unloaded in Zhengfa had cloth written on it. In Burgundian, that is. And this is where the killer grabbed a piece from to clean up the blood with it. That's right. The killer was someone who could read and understand Burgundian. And the only crew member that fits the description is you, Miss Cammy Millie. Ha! That's pretty flimsy. The killer probably searched through all the boxes looking for something to use. When you're frantic, you don't care if the box is in English or Burgundian. Sorry, but I can't agree with your assessment of the killer's indiscriminate nature. What? There was no need for the killer to tear through boxes at random at all. And if the killer supposedly could not comprehend Burgundian, well then, logically the killer would have opened this box first. Which box would they open? Hey, it says bed sheets in English right on the box, sir. Precisely, and bed sheets would be perfect for cleaning up blood, didn't you say? So, what are you trying to say? That if I were the criminal, this box of bed sheets would have been what I would have spotted first. However, the killer chose to use some Burgundian cloth. Do you have an explanation for that? The killer didn't want anyone to know that the real scene of the crime was this cargo hold, so they were afraid to leave signs that the box or the sheets had been opened. However, the Burgundian cloth, well, that's a horse of a different color. Because the killer knew that it was going to be unloaded in the Republic of Zangfa? That's correct. That is why the Burgundian cloth was used. And the only Burgundian reader on board who could make such a calculated decision is you, Cammy Mealy. You and you alone. It would be very easy for us to confirm if any of the boxes were resealed. All we could have to do is contact Zangfa authorities in time. We may even find other evidence to incriminate our killer within those boxes. Grrr! So what do you say, Miss Mealy? Why not confess to your crimes here and now? Or would you rather wait and see what we find out from our investigation in Zangfa? He was Interpol. I couldn't stop it. I brought him here, and he started taking pictures. I couldn't be found out. I was scared. I was in trouble. I March 12th, 5:26 p.m., flight I-390, first floor lounge. We've finished making all the arrangements to take the suspect in, sir. Very good, detective. What about the smuggling route? Did she say anything about that? They're taking her down to precinct now. Hopefully we can get more out of her there. Whenever we even approached the topic, she just started foaming at the mouth. It was scary, sir. She probably wasn't prepared to commit a murder all of a sudden. One thing is for sure, the ring behind this whole mess means serious business. Looks like there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. Mr. Edgeworth? I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everything you did. Thank you very much. It was nothing. In fact, I should be the one thanking you for your cooperation. But truly, if it wasn't for you, I might not be here right now. Instead, I can continue to serve our passengers as a flight attendant. I hope that, well, please accept this as a token of my appreciation. Let's see. You don't have to take it if you don't want it. No, I mean, I would never turn down old lady Jenner's offer. More like it was an offer you can't refuse. Oh, thank you. I'm sure it will serve you well. Remember, we here at Fly Airlines are always ready to serve Mr. Edgeworth. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind. Now I must bid you farewell. May all your skies be blue no matter where you go. I can't believe we wound up investigating the whole day, sir. But boy, was it fun. Speak for yourself, my day was filled with earthquakes, elevators, and false charges. By the way, where's Franziska? Oh, she's filling out some customer's paper for her departure. Departure? Yeah, Miss Von Karma always really busy, sir. She's been flying from country to country to chase down some leads regarding her case. Detective? Can you cancel that car I had you reserve earlier? You got it, sir. March 12th, 5:47 p.m., Hope Springs Airport. Franziska. I thought I told you when you first landed I have no time for idle chatter. I have no intention of wasting your time, however, it has been a while since we last met. I also have no time for such familiar reminiscence. Just who do you think I am? You are Franziska Von Karma, a very proud prosecutor deserving of much respect. Until only a little while ago, I was but a wretched mutt who was always losing to you. A dancing spirit, living her life on the name and fame her invisible father built. True, your father, Montford Von Karma, didn't lose a single case for 40 years as a prosecutor. Until that one loss against that defense attorney. However, I wouldn't say he was invincible. What are you talking about? The group on the trail is a little more troublesome than most. The smuggling route we found this time is only one sliver of the big picture. Sounds like a dangerous assignment. You really don't have to worry. I can take care of myself. Yes, I suppose you can. Plus, there's another agent on this case with me. Oh, another agent? He's a star among Interpol agents and has the highest successful arrest rate. Who knows? You may even run into him one day. I was simply caught up in this one case. I don't really see why we would cross paths. I suppose, but I doubt he would say the same. I'm not following you. You'll understand soon enough. The flight has only just begun, Miles Edgeworth. I'll be back in this country soon enough. And when I am, you can be sure I'll pay you back in full. And just like that, she's gone, huh, sir? Thank goodness I could finally rest easily knowing I won't have to watch out for her whip. Detective Gumshoe? I want to thank you for all your help and cooperation. Di, you hear this music? Whose music is this? You should know whose music this is. Well, he's right here. He's right here. Yes. Sounds different than his music from the trilogy, doesn't it? They changed it for this one. Anyways, it was nothing, sir. I was just happy to be able to work with you again. I think I'm gonna celebrate by adding a little extra salt to my instant noodles tonight. That high cholesterol and blood pressure is going to go up. More! Just how much did you cut his salary by, Francisca? Detective, I was wondering if you might give me a ride down to the prosecutor's office. Sure thing, sir. I'll even fly down the road in the patrol car if you want. Don't make me remind you, Detective. Safety first. Thus, I solved the first case upon my arrival home. Franziska von Karma, the smuggling route she was after. The leaders of the ring had already put their trump card into play. But the players on the other side of this war, they would begin to make themselves known to the next incident. Edgeworth speaking. Ah, finally. I called who knows how many times earlier, but I couldn't get through. And you are? Oh, have you forgotten my voice, Miles, my boy? Mr. Armando? Ernest Armando, correct? Ah, so you do remember me. I know it's rather sudden, but I can't ask this of anyone else. There's been an incident, Miles. My son, he's been kidnapped. Okay. So we will be doing episode 3 starting next week. I feel like this is the best time to end this one. We're going to meet some new characters. Of course, you can see in the background, that happens to be a new character, which you probably have seen in the thumbnail. So yes, we will be meeting them next week. What do you think of that case, Di? You liked it? Okay. So I am going to set this up to the last scene. I also have to take care of a little business first. Alright, BRB for a little bit. Okay, I'm back. Let's go find a raid target, shall we? I think I'm going to drop down to Phoenix for tonight because right now, first thing I thought of right now. And you guys all have a good, wonderful night. Thanks, Phoenix. You guys have a wonderful night.